Не, ну у нас, которая Люська, она, допустим, на островах именно уже. Ну, там кнопку нажимаешь одну, нажимаешь другую, одну по-другому. То есть там эпизодов всего куча, можно свои делать. Правильно? Но скромно. Ты хочешь что-то
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to welcome you at America House tonight. My name is Nadia Ostrovskaya. I'm head of ICU-Kyiv Development Center. This is an educational initiative for people who would like to learn about different career opportunities. I'm representing ICU-Kyiv Alumni Association. This is the community that initiated this project. We are alumni of International Christian University Kyiv, and I'm very glad to present to you here tonight my fellow alumna Tetyana Kretova, who has graduated from ICU-Kyiv in 2004 in my class. Tetyana is international director with IE Madrid, if you know, it's a top European business school. And today Tetyana will share with us on the very interesting topic, professions of the future. As you know, business schools work tightly with business communities, and they know what are the cutting edge functions that are required in companies to perform. And they know what skills are needed in people for companies to work effectively. And I would like to take no more of your time and to give the floor to Tetyana. Please welcome.
Thank you. Okay. I think it was perfectly well without the mic, but I'm going to use the mic. Anyways, thank you very much for coming tonight, because it's Friday, right? It's a bit cold, so it's not a summer anymore. However, I really appreciate that you take the time after a tiring week and busy week to come here and to talk. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm really excited. You know, it's just like ICU is always in the heart. It's a very special community, and I hope it's going to continue to grow. However, I will start with bad news. I have no idea what's going to be the career of the future. Okay, I have no idea what's going to be the profession of the future. Because if I knew, I think, you know, I would not be working for a business school as an international development director. I will be predicting future and making a lot of money. What I know, though, that there are so many changes which are happening in the world that, you know, like, even though we cannot predict, is it, I don't know, going to be like a big data driver, whatever, you know, or maybe it will be a very simple profession which will require very technical skills. I think still we are able to read some kind of trends which exist on the market, and we can predict where we need to move on. And I think there are some fundamentals, principles that we need to apply throughout our career, throughout our life, in order to be always riding the wave, right? So just a couple of numbers about myself. I was thinking, you know, how to introduce myself, and I realized that I have quite a lot of threes. When I talk about me, I'm 33 years old. I have my daughter who is over there. She's with me tonight. I have I'm going to visit 7 new countries in the next month, because I'm starting a new job, and it's a completely new region. So it's been exciting in the past, because I was taking around 150 flights a year. Now they're going to be longer, okay, because it's going to be Asian Pacific. It's my 9th job in my life, in my 13 years of professional career. And then I was reading the reports of the World Economic Forum to prepare for today, and they say that the generation which is growing up now, it's going to live in the reality which is very different from what my parents, your parents, right, our grandparents would have been thinking about. Because the idea of the career in the past was that you have to make sure that you join a big company and you stay there for a lifetime, right? And you want to make sure it's a big company because then it's secure, it's stable, and this is what you want. You want security and stability in your life. Today we live in the world of change, right? And it's very difficult to say what's going to be more stable. A startup like Google, right? Which now is not a startup anymore. Is it going to be Uber? Or it's going to be something like British Petroleum, which is facing quite a lot of challenges, right? Who would have thought? So in this sense, they say that throughout our lifetime, we will have at least 11 jobs. I'm on my 9th. Okay, so either I stay longer on the next one, or I'm gonna, beat the record. But on average, they say people will have 11 jobs. So that means if you enter the workforce around 11 and you continue to work until you're 65, you can understand the frequency of change, which is there, right? The special case in my case is that it's my 3rd job this year. Okay, I entered the year as the International Development Director for we called it Eastern Europe and Central Asia for political reasons, but basically the CIS countries which were in the past. But then I was in the transition period supposed to move to London, and I held that role for half a year. And then I was offered a new exciting opportunity of moving to head the region, which has 20 million people and which is forecasted to grow in the next 3 years at the rate of 10%, Asia Pacific. So it's my 3rd job this year, okay? I hope I will stay a bit more stable now and will continue to, with my recent role. And I have 3 homes. I'm Ukrainian. My partner lives in London, in the UK. He is Spanish, so we have family in Spain, and my new position is based in Madrid. So I'm always saying that I have 3 homes. It's very difficult to answer the question when they say, where do you live? I'm saying, depends when. So that's me, right? And I was thinking, how to talk about things and how to share with you. And I thought probably I will use my life because I think it's something which could be regarded as a successful career. And I was looking back and forth and thinking, what kind of decisions I had to make to be where I am, what kind of challenges I had to face, what helped me. And then I will also show you some statistics which could help us understand, where we have to move and where we have to look. First of all, I work for IE. It's a Spanish business school. It has been already discovered. It's based in Madrid. It's an amazing city with 350 days of sunlight and sunshine. If you go there, your heart stays there forever. It's very difficult to leave. It's a wonderful place. IE has been founded more than 46 years ago by an entrepreneur. He was 23, Diego de Casar, and he's still there running the school. And the idea behind it was to revolutionize the education, right? In order to shape people for the future. So IE is the school which is always, I called it like an Amsterdam in the area of education because it's always challenging. And I would like to share with you how we see what kind of knowledge you need to have to be prepared for the future. What should you study, for example, to be fit for the future? So he created the school with an idea that he wants to unite the best of the 2 worlds. The corporate world, which can offer a lot of structure, a lot of knowledge, right, a lot of insights on how things can be streamlined, and also entrepreneurial world, which is always challenging, which is always looking for the niche, which is always innovating. So we ended up having a school which has the highest percentage of entrepreneurs going there and the highest percentage of people starting their businesses after graduating. It's 20%, not a lot, so 80% are still people who continue their careers in the corporate world and come from the corporate world. And I think that by our campus, you can tell that it unites the kind of classical academics, right, with innovation. So you have the best of the 2 worlds out there. And this is one of the rooms where you studied. So just like to give you an idea. And it's one of the top-ranked business schools and universities in the world, according to Financial Times, especially for our programs which are called blended programs, which are not full-time, when you're able to combine your study and professional experience in life. So how do we look at it? How do we keep up to date? How do we think, what do we need to teach? We have a career center in the business school, which is all the time keeping in touch with the corporate world, with the companies, learning what do they need from our graduates. We have around 30 different master's programs, we have bachelor degrees, we have executive education, and that makes quite a lot of students, right? We have over 47,000 alumni around the world. So that means having, and these 47,000 alumni, they come from different countries, because at once on the campus you would have 110 nationalities. So that means they either want to move most likely internationally, that's why they choose an international business school, or they want to go back to their to their country. But definitely they go for this investment of their time and money in order to achieve something, to make a jump in their career. So our career center has to be well aware of what actually are the demands on the labor market and what the companies are expecting. And when last year we've been relaunching our full-time MBA program, before that we've done quite a big study in terms of trying to understand, what people, like what HR managers, what CEOs are looking for. And what they said is that quite often people who are graduating from MBA programs, who are in the workforce, they might have like fantastic technical knowledge, they know the frameworks, they have it all, but they are still lacking the social skills. So if we would look what kind of skills actually the employers were asking for in 2015 and what kind of skills we see would be required in 2012, then about 30%, 1/3 is gone, right? It's rearranged. The good news are the complex problem solving is still there, right? So, but then you see that coordinating with others, people management, it still stays in the list, but it's kind of going down in terms of importance. And why so? The number 2 is critical thinking, number 3 is creativity. Because there are so many different opportunities around, there are so many changes around, that you have to be able to make a very clear judgment in terms of what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, right? And a very interesting entry is the cognitive flexibility. It's something new, it didn't exist before, right? It sounds very strange, I have every time to think about it, but basically it says there is so much knowledge, information around, right, that you have to be able to be flexible to deal with all that and to deal with uncertainty. So these are the skills. Now, of course, in some professions you would have, some professions will be more kind of learned and taught skill based. This would be the physical workforce. And some of them will be social skill based. Normally the high paid jobs are the ones where you need to use the brain, right? So these are the skills that all of us have to start nurturing already today. Then like how does this relate in terms of professions? There is a list of professions which are kind of like dying out professions, which will be stagnating in their development over the development of the technology and robotics. And there are some professions which will still be there, but they will be undergoing quite a rapid change. Again, because of the technological development and everything is out there. I've already shown you the next slide. Basically media in entertainment is the most stable profession out there, like industry out there in terms of the skills that you would require. And why so? I guess like if we would go back to the skills, critical thinking, creativity, right, people management, like the skills which are there, you kind of like need them there anyways. So in this sense, those of you who are in this industry, 70% of your skills, it doesn't mean the knowledge in terms of technology, like improvements. It's only about the soft skills that you need, you are safe there. What do you think is the industry which will see the biggest change of the skills required?
Service.
What type?
I think any customer-oriented, like
Services are in the middle, so yes, but it's going to be finance. if you think today, yesterday there was a very interesting interview which was broadcasted to the Wall Street Journal Facebook page. It was an interview with a guy called TransferWise. It's not his name, it's the name of the company. But basically with a guy who founded the TransferWise. Who knows the company TransferWise? Okay, so TransferWise is the company which is revolutionizing the banking sector. Who has had an experience of having to send money abroad and to change currencies? What are the fees that you pay normally when you have to pay to the bank in another country?
It depends on the amount.
Well, roughly. I pay about 60 euros. Yeah, like if you would combine everything.
Okay, for one Swiss it's $100.
Okay, so you see, it's a big amount. Then if you convert from currency to currency,
1%.
they charge you for this. And then also, are you getting the best currency rate that you can have? So basically, we're ripped off by the banks and by their inefficiencies of the structure. TransferWise is an amazing service. It started in the UK, and basically because they have pound, right? And quite many people are sending money back and forth. And all they have done, they said like, look, there are always people who need to send, who need pounds, who need euros, who need dollars. Why don't we bring them together and create our own market space? I've used it, it works amazing. Basically, in 2 hours, you're able to transfer the money at the fee of 2 euros, 2.7 euros, compared to, you know, of course, like it depends on amounts, then we can discuss, I mean, what's the maximum amount you can send, right? But this service at the moment, it exists for individuals. I was sending different amounts of money, so it's not like 10 euros, right? And it works. And normally, like you're able, it's very transparent, very reliable. You're able to see the whole operation, like your money received, your money are waiting for the transfer, your money are sent 2-3 hours, and it's where it's necessary. So we see that one of the biggest areas, I mean, which is undergoing, like standing the pressure, is the financial area. So the fintech, like there are many startups and the banks understand that they need to change. And there was a recent article, I don't remember where, Financial Times or Business Week, one of them, which was actually saying that all of the banks are now really going after digitizing the business and stuff, right? So in terms of skills, you see that, 70% of them have to change over the next 5 years. So if this is your industry, if you're thinking about it, don't learn what they teach you today, think what's going to be necessary in the future, right? And I think the best investment you can make is investing in yourself in terms of, continuously investing in yourself, to be fair. And these are like the job families. If you would see, I mean, what kind of, you don't really understand, it's not, the scale is not explained, but like which ones will be shrinking in terms of like the number of people, and like skills development and everything, and like which professions would be growing. And then we see from this that in terms of technical knowledge, it's a clear goal that mathematics are important, right? I think that's one of the conclusions we can make. And my daughter, which is sitting over there, when I'm thinking, she's 7 years old, and I have no idea at all when she will be like going, to study at the university, or when she will be looking for her first job, what the job is going to be. So in this sense, I remember myself being a high school student and like going for the A's and studying and studying really hard, right? And then in an instance, you understand that I wouldn't would I be thinking that I'm going to be doing the business development? I mean, in other countries, where I was studying in a really small village in my school. So then I'm thinking like the knowledge becomes obsolete so fast. It's free, the information is free, and it becomes obsolete so fast that I think the best I can do for her is to make sure she's good at math, because it takes you to logical thinking and everything, languages and social skills. The rest, up to her, honestly. For me it's important that she is happy, but these are the 3 basic things which for myself, for my child, I plan to focus on, because I think the rest, we don't know, right? What's important as well is like how to succeed in the career, and this is what we hear from HR managers, and I will refer also to what I've said before, that they feel that people still need to develop more of the social skills than they have. And then of course we can argue that some professions need more of the social skills, some need less of the social skills. It's true, and you can also say that an accountant doesn't need to have social skills at all. But if you want to grow from a simple accountant, to someone, to the CEO, then you work with people. You don't work with numbers. And in this sense, they say the technical skills are as important as your aptitude to be social. Right? So being nice can take you in the career, and I don't mean nice like in a bad way, like the brown nosing and everything, but just like being a nice person, social person is as important as having very good technical skills. Because today the information is available. Before you had to go to the library, before you had to borrow a book, today if you want to know something, she tells me, "Mommy, why don't you Google?" And that's it, right? So I was thinking, what was the problem for me and why was it difficult for me to understand? Because like when we're saying that you would have 11 different jobs throughout your life, then I'm also thinking about the interview which the dean of IE Business School was giving, Santiago Niegues, and he was discussing the future of education in a sense like of practical application in terms of what you need for the job, because I don't believe in education in any other way. That you have to be educated, to be able to be an interesting person and to be able to make your living. Otherwise, why study? So what he was saying is that the MBA student nowadays, like the full-time is 29-year-old for the European schools, American and much younger. For the executive, that would be something like 40 years old. So he says that the MBA students of the future, and it's not a very distant future, are going to be 60. And all of us will have at least 4 different master degrees. Because of the knowledge becoming so obsolete, you not simply need like, I don't know, a Coursera course, or something. You really need to have like a complete like integration deep dive into the new knowledge. So what he says is basically to secure your first job, the generic knowledge is not going to take you there. You would need to really choose, like what's your specialty, what you want to learn, and then by the time you arrive to learning something like general, you're going to be 60. Think about it. And then he also said things that. And I think it's coming. We already have master's degrees which actually have meditation and mindfulness as part of the tuition. Because in the run, I think we're exhausting ourselves, right? And more people are thinking about it, that life is not only about killing yourself for someone or whatever, that it offers you much more. So he said that we will see that as part of the curriculum, and that translates also for the jobs, that mindfulness, yoga, meditation, memory-enhancing pills, and things like this will become a part of our life. Interesting, no? But the first thing, which you would want probably to answer is, who are you? What do you want to do? And in the past, I think it was a very heavy decision to make when you thought, what kind of job I want to have in the future? Because the idea was that the parents were instilling that this is something that you will do, or you will be doing for the rest of your life. Now it's so easy. You go and you change. You don't like it, you change. Before, if you would be changing less than in 7 years, this is the cycle when the company, the story, is going through everything. You're able to see, overnight the company is dying. So that doesn't work. And now even, like at the more mature markets like the UK, Western Europe, they're looking quite open-minded if they see that people are changing jobs every 2 and 3 years. So in this sense, when you're making the decision for your first career, take it easy and really go after something that you like. And this was something I think that I was always promising for myself and telling, like, if you really enjoy it, you'll succeed. If you feel you enjoy something else, change. There is no problem to your CV in that, of course, unless you're changing every day, right? So, who are you? And I think it's very important to be comfortable with that as well. And for me, it took a bit of a time to get comfortable to the fact, now I'm proud of it, but that I was coming from a very small village. It was like a military village, Azorna in Žytomyr region. And I remember like I was feeling kind of stressed that I'm not coming from a big city, and things like this. But I think that shaped me into a very strong personality who wanted to achieve a lot, right? And I think like what I could learn from that, I'm always trying to put myself there, is the value of reputation, right? And like managing and taking care of relationships. But it was very difficult for me to understand who I am at that point and what I want to do, and I will show you what kind of ideas about my professions I had, right? And then it's like, what do you want to be as something which derives, right? Now it's a lighter choice. Okay, when I was smaller, I think it was like, I don't know, 7 or 8, I wanted to be a witch. That was my dream profession. I think I wanted to have things easy, you have a magic stick, you don't need to work hard, this is what you want. And then when I became a teenager, I wanted to become a flight attendant, okay? And actually it was when I was preparing this lecture when I thought like, why the hell actually I wanted to, to do all this stuff, except for flying, which both of them are doing, what else? I will come back to that in the end, like what kind of conclusion I came to. But basically that was my idea, So something like completely unrelated to what I'm doing today. And then I was thinking, how it was building up. It's very difficult to say what's going to be the hot job in 10 years, in 20 years, and everything. However, definitely what is always there is to be prepared to grab the chance. And in my case, it was the FSA Flex program, which was sponsored by the US government, when I became one of the 4 people from Zhytomyr region which went with a paid scholarship to study for 1 year in the United States. And the first year I didn't pass it. I went all the way through all the selection process, and then in the last round I was not selected. And the next year, again, I went really, focused that I'm gonna get it, and I went. There were around roughly 2,000 of people who were doing the English tests and everything. It was only 4 who went. So, were there other people who were smarter? Were there other people who knew English better than I knew it? Of course. So there is always, this chance, but I was really convinced inside of myself that this is something that I'm going for. It was a completely life-changing experience. The first year I was not prepared morally, emotionally, in terms of knowledge. For the next year I was preparing. I knew what it's going to be. I knew what I have to study. I went and I took a really good tutor for English classes. So be prepared to grab the chance, because the opportunities are always around us, but we're not able to recognize them because we're not prepared. Because then it doesn't exist, right? Then try different things. That was another profession that I had in my mind. After being a flight attendant, I was thinking that I really enjoy law, so I want to be like a devil's advocate, right? But I really like this, the law in the States and the idea of what they do. In Ukrainian reality, it's a bit different. Right, so I couldn't really exercise it, and then on the final year I was in the US, so I couldn't really prepare for that. And then what was interesting when I studied in the high school, and that's why I tried different things, and it's be curious, because you never know. When I was going to the Ukrainian high school, my favorite classes were algebra, geometry, chemistry, and physics. It was something, which I really enjoyed, and I loved it. I went to the States, and then to graduate with a diploma, I had to take specific classes, and I had only the flexibility of choosing 2 classes completely out of the blue, whatever I want, 1 per semester. And they opened a completely different world for me, because I took creative writing and public speaking. And I enjoyed it so much that actually math went to die out, and I'm still struggling with numbers. My Excel never works, okay? So the thing is but I didn't know it. It's in the reality where I was, in my school in a small city, I didn't have that. So I could have well gone and become someone with numbers. Today I realize that I'm really bad with numbers. I'm really bad with detail orientation. I'm really bad. That's why next to me I always make sure that I have someone who's really detail oriented, because then together we're able to fly. I'm always saying to my assistant, I'm saying look, it's really good that I have you, because I know that I will start flying, forgetting the plane at home. So you always need this person. So for me it was a completely different world that opened, and then I came back and I was looking for the university, and I found my home for the next 4 years with ICU. And I chose that because 90% of people at least were like me. people who were coming back from the States with a very specific mindset. From the second year, everyone had a job, part-time job, and everyone was completely employed by the graduation. And it was something where I felt really comfortable, very practical university with taught in English, international diploma, all professors, international. So it was something that I really liked. Then, on the last year of my university, I decided that part-time job is nice, but I want to do, I want to have a full-time job, and I want to work for Metro. And then when I was making the decision, Metro was a startup in Ukraine, and there were like really weird stories that they're gonna kill like small business in the country. No one was really knowing what the company is, and I joined as a PR assistant, and I remember my first in life salary negotiations, and I knew I knew that they could pay like $500 for the position. At that time it was quite a lot. Today I think it's also a good salary now. But then I remember during the negotiations I didn't understand, I was not prepared, and I said yes to like 350, so like going really down. And then I felt like really bad about myself, but then I thought like, okay, I'm gonna try. It was amazing, and I think like from there, like what I took is that never make money the only criteria by which you choose your job. And I'm still not doing it, and I'm still trying to value like different things. Because then in this company I enjoyed almost 10 years of professional growth, changing and growing in the positions every 1.5 years to 2 years. And I left the company from the position of head of marketing. And that takes me to the next point of always having a mentor. Because when I joined the company, I was 20 years old, a PR assistant. I had a fantastic mentor, Tetyana Kretova. She's one of the top PR professionals on the market. In 1 year, I thought I can do her job better, but I can do her job, and I want her job. After 2 months, she left to work for MTS. It had nothing to do with me, but the job opened. So if you ask something, be careful with your dreams, right? And then I was like, Jesus. And they were thinking like, okay, she's 20, it's the function which reports to CEO. We can't really put a 20-year-old in a German company over there. But I really was like motivated to do it. So I went to the CEO and I told him, it was Axel Luchin, he's now in Germany, and I told him, look, give me a chance, give me 4 months. We don't have like anything like crazy going on. So if I fail, I'm gonna leave myself. Just like that. It's like I will not like, put it on you, like I will leave myself. But if you give me a little bit of support and chance to try, maybe it works. So years later, when I was already head of corporate communications, he told me that on that day, he made a decision that he will grow me into one of the top managers he knows. Like one of the most skillful and nice managers, because he said like I saw the attitude and I saw like the strive, and in English you say to have the balls, right, to come to the CEO and to say like, look, I'm 20, I know, give me 4 months. So, and Jonathan Tour, it was my next mentor. One evening he wrote me an email inviting me to his office, and I thought it was because of the press conference, and he actually offered me a job. And he said, I wanted to be in the team. He gave me like, and I had like, it was somehow like in my life, I'm always like getting the opportunities which I want, but for which I'm feeling that I'm not prepared for, that you're stretched, and it's a bit scary. But again, with Jonathan, we had a conversation that like we discussed what's the position, what's the salary, and he told me, let's do it this way. This is your position. Come to me in 1 week and tell me how you see how you will streamline the function and what you will do. I came to him, I showed him everything, he said, okay, fine, start. After 3 months, he came to me himself and he said, perfect, and he gave me 30% of salary raise. Because we discussed it and I said, like, look, it's a bigger job, blah, blah, blah. He told me, okay, show me what you can do. And I said, fine. And the agreement that I had with him, I said, like, look, I have no idea, because I was head of corporate communications, head of marketing communications, it's sales, it's like TV ads and everything, branding. And I said, I'm gonna do my best, but if you drop me in the ocean, I'm gonna drown. But if you give me like a little bit of support, I will float. And he gave me like a lot of support, and I learned a lot of things from him. So he was like my second mentor. And then I went to do an MBA, and that was my personal decision. When he told me, you're already nominated as my successor, in 1 year we're sending you to Germany, then you will go to another country, and in 5 years you will come back to Ukraine as the board member. And it was the talk in July when I asked them to pay partially for my MBA, and they said no. It was a strategy of my life because I thought my pink glasses went down to the floor because I thought I was investing so much into the company and they didn't give it to me, but it was for better. Because then I stayed and basically they told me no on the last day before my holidays. So I went, I clapped the door, I took my bag and I went out. And they were calling me for 2 weeks because I had holidays for 2 weeks and I came back. And he said, I was scared that you will not come back. And I said, are you stupid? How am I going to pay for my MBA? Of course I come back. Well, anyways, I started my MBA in November. In February, Jonathan invited me to his office. I thought to help me grow and give some constructive feedback. But actually he gave me very positive feedback. He told me that the CEO of the company, it was already a new CEO, and the HR director came to him and they said that they're impressed with the new level of skills, social skills, argumentation skills that they saw. And they gave me quite a lot of responsibility on top, as it always happens. But what happened in May we learned that the position for which I was nominated as a successor doesn't exist anymore. In all 33 countries it was cancelled. So in this sense, would I listen to him, even though he was my trusted mentor and I didn't do it, I would be with a cut rope in terms of not knowing what to do. But I was preparing for for that myself, and he was a great mentor. But take life as your own responsibility. And today what I see, it's still at different moments of your life, you still need a mentor. Not probably for 7 years like the first time, not for 3 years like with Jonathan, but here and there you always need someone with whom you can discuss, right? Some expertise that you need. For example, when I was thinking to launch my company, my mentor was my classmate from ICU, I don't know if you know her, she's a serial entrepreneur. We've studied together, she's 1 year older than us, no? Yeah. So she was helping me, she was my mentor, she was helping me to understand, how to approach things. So now it's more of a situational mentorship that you need, but I feel it's always important to have someone with whom, you can discuss things. And I realized after my partner was in Houston for a business trip for 5 days, and we couldn't really talk because of the time differences and everything, and then suddenly he calls me and I'm like, this is so good because now I have to tell you all this stuff, and I realized that my mentor is him because I felt with so many things which I needed his feedback on, right? So we always have these mentors for longer periods, for shorter periods. It's like the yoga gurus or teachers that you have in your life. Never stick to one, right? You grow, you need another one. You grow, you need another one. Otherwise you don't grow. And never stop learning, it's another thing. And definitely this is my MBA class. This is me. We were 46 people, 35 nationalities, all different. I was the crazy person who was flying every second Friday and Saturday for classes in Madrid. I was a bi-weekly mom and bi-weekly student, how I called myself. And then of course I had my daily job with Metro. It was a fantastic, crazy year, which reshaped my life completely. Because when in May I knew that in Metro I didn't have any future which I was building for myself. I have to make a change. Then the school actually, it happened at the same time that I worked with a professional career coach. And I arrived at the idea of what I would like to do, saying that I would like to do a job. I don't have an idle company, but I would like to do a job, being kind of an entrepreneur, but with a fixed income, but with an opportunity to earn more. I want to be managing the company like a CEO with a lot of responsibility and everything, but I still want to be a part of something big, She was looking at me it's ridiculous. And then I said look, but what for me is really important is that I want to work for a company which is changing the lives of people for better. And then IE, business school, became the job, my dream job, which I really wanted to have. I did international development, consulting people on their choices in terms of education, because that leads to the next career step, right? And I'm still there. It's already my 4th year, and it's already my 3rd position now with them, and I'm super happy. What's gonna be next? I don't know. because education always brings different things, and we look for different things, right? For fun, for change, for knowledge, for network. What I know is that it's not my MBA, it's not my last program that I studied, because the continuous learning, I know it's been the topic which has been already discussed also within these walls. But actually, like, think what you learn, like from what we have discussed in terms of what are the skills which are necessary, you know, the how fast it's changing, and this is the project which we have done. You can find it online. It's done with theory and practice, that room, Masters of the Future, where we discuss 12 professions, which we see, it's like, it's not distant future, it's something which is happening over, during the next 5 to 5 plus years. And you can read like what do you need to study, what do you have to do, and some examples of that are cybersecurity as something that probably is good to study, and this is the master's program which is going to be launched next year. And you would think like cybersecurity is only for IT people, it's also for legal people. And what you see is like these things that, yes, they have a techie sense about them, but they're very like integrated. And for example, right now, I could consider myself being a marketeer, but I'm thinking that I want to learn more about big data. Not to work like in big data, but to be able to understand how to approach it. And I'm not looking here, you know, like to improve my salary by this percent, how we were thinking when we were doing the MBA. I'm thinking more that, you know, to build anything, like I would like to, I know that I can hire someone, but I feel that I also have to understand a bit more about it. Then, if you would see like what kind of programs are launched, then we have a new highly developing, quickly developing school called Human Science and Technology School. And all these masters, there will be 7 new master programs launched, and all of them are very specialized. Not in HR masters, but masters in talent development, masters in coaching, masters in smart city, masters in innovation management. So it's very specific. And because I think, you know, like when I'm also meeting young people who are just thinking what to do after their bachelor's degree, and they're asking like, oh, I want to go for the master in management, right? And why do you want to go for master in management? Because I want to be a manager. I think it's boring, in a way, to be a manager when you are 20. Because I enjoy, honestly, like I really enjoyed like getting my hands onto some projects and everything. I think that's the fun part. I think working with people is the most difficult thing, and working through people is the most difficult thing. So I'm always saying like, why don't you want to have fun, you know, like and play with stuff? Why don't you want to learn from someone who is older? Why don't you want to work with someone? And also, okay, you graduate as a manager in 20 years old, and all of us, like, we're very ambitious, so I was the same way, like, I wanted to put in my business cards that I'm a manager. And I remember Sherimeta was still then the dean of the Kyiv Business School, and we've been doing some kind of course within Metro there, and we went for lunch with a group of people, and I was telling him, I want to go for the MBA at Kyiv Business School, and he told me, but how many years of experience do you have? 2. And he told me, well, maybe you need a bit more. Like, I don't remember the conversation, you know, in exact words, but he was telling me, he smiled like in a really like understanding way, you know, in the same way that I smile today when I see people. Because like when you're young, you want to put this on business card, you want the prestige, you want the ambition. But the thing is, like, I think life is about having fun and enjoying, and everything has its own moment, and you cannot really like trace it back. And in terms of also employability, who has more chances of getting like a good, well-paid job? Someone who is now graduating with a master's in big data and business analytics, when only in the States alone we have 1.5 million of jobs, for which people, you don't have trained people, so basically you're a really unique professional. Or you're graduating as a general master in management with 0 experience in management, and you have like the full house of MBAs already, right? So it's all about choices, and I'm not saying that if you go for a general master in management with some specialization, you're not able to make it, but I think we have to be very picky in terms of what we learn and when we learn it. And I think it's super important to, you know, to enjoy what you're doing and not trying to speed up time. And here it's the moment of review in terms of be like really honest, because like of course like you can look at this and you're thinking, okay, the future is in cyber technology, in cyber security. I'm gonna go and do it. The future is, I don't know, talent development. I'm gonna go and do it. But then it goes back to my love for math, physics, and everything. It's like, what did you like? I realized that the reason why I liked these precise classes because they were the only like practical classes when you were learning something and you were applying and you were playing. In chemistry, you're making experiments. In physics, you're like understanding the nature and how it works. In geography, what did we learn? Looking on the map and learning from the teacher who never traveled, right? So in this sense, I think like be very honest what you like about it. And again, going to the principle number 2, don't choose only based on money. Because you have people who are blogging about nails and they like it, you know, and they earn money. So the point is like if you like it, you will make it work. If you hate it, you will end up having a cancer. So be honest with yourself. And my idea was like, flight attendant, it's a sexy job. You're flying to different countries, you're doing this and that. The thing is like, with 150 flights a year, I feel almost like a flight attendant, and I see what they're doing, and actually they're doing this. So the thing is like, what exactly do you like about the job? As a SWOT analysis, is it money? Is it prestige? Is it traveling? What is it? And are you able to get it in some other way? Because traveling, it's super easy, and today like you have like millions of options to travel cheap, you know, and to travel like in an affordable way. So in this sense, it was a funny discovery because like I was never able to get down to the root of the stuff until actually I was lining up like my thought process, and I thought, Jesus, it was so easy, you know. And the thing is like when we learn things, and that goes back to the 11 jobs, to learning specialized masters, to the fact that we'll have 4 of them, most likely, at least our kids for sure. It's not being scared to make a career change and to change, and it's never too late, and it's not bad. And there are different examples. For example, Alexander Kazakov, he studied master in management. He was a programmer, a computer geek. He went to study master in management at IE. And then during the venture lab, we have like every Thursday, we have a pitching of startups in the area 31. And then you have investors and evaluating it. And he was like standing and smiling. He saw another guy who was standing in the corner, like looking and everything, listening to the pitches and smiling. He went to talk to him. And it happened to be that he was looking for the chief technical officer for his startup, which is called GlowNet. And Alexander became his chief technical officer. Today they're hiring professionals from Samsung and from the big companies. They're basically have a technology which allows you to do cashless payments in the desert with with the program that they have. They plan to earn revenues in the future selling big data, but for now they're bought for security reasons because it allows to manage fraud in a much better way. He already traveled the whole world with his startup. He's thinking about his new step. A programmer who studied master management, what I criticized a bit the degree, right? So for him it was good because he had a very technical background. With master management, he expanded it. So there is no like magic formula, you know. I think like it's really different for each of us. Then a story about Pavel Feldman. He studied master in finance at the business school. Upon graduation, they launched a venture fund which was investing in big data. They incorporated it in New York. He went there, and then something didn't work with partners. He came back to Moscow, and do you have any idea what he's doing today? Any guess? He's making movies. He's making movies. He is an amazing singer, and he went into a completely artistic thing. But his knowledge of finance helps him to raise money to manage the financial area. So the thing is like, what you learn is with you, and it's the best investment that you can make. You know, like you will always be able to apply it. Mikhail Bakunin is a very interesting person. He did a full-time MBA with us, and then he's been selected as one of the 3 graduating MBAs from all around the world for this management rotation program that Nissan is doing. So he went with his family to live in Paris for 3 years, and now he is already on a new assignment in Japan, developing the electric cars and everything. Before that, he worked for the telecom companies. So like a big career change into something different. And then Igor Mikhailov, he is like, I'm going in the seniority level. So he is the oldest of them. He is like around 40. He's been like the risk manager, working for big companies. The last one he left was like one of the top companies in Russia. And he left it to start his own educational startup, focus on risk management. He was named the best risk manager in Europe. Now he has his own education and training company in that. He quit it, and I think the challenge with all of us is that it's like, I think if you go for such a big and ambitious thing, you know, as education, which is stretching for the second education, because the first one we kind of have to do it, right? Because like otherwise, how the hell do we like qualify for the job? The second one is something that you choose to do. So when you choose to do something, it means that you have all these buzzwords of change in your head, right? And at the moment when you actually go for it. And it's not, for me, it's not surprising. You know, I think only like Bakunin, that he went kind of in the corporate ladder career, okay, changing the country, changing the industry. In the rest, like, it's a complete change. And I think like we're very bad at embracing change. And this is like one of the, I think like that was one of the skills. I don't remember, but like if not, then it's definitely something that we have to live with that. And I think the 10th one is what I hope like I managed to convey to you is like to remember to enjoy life, because I remember 5 years ago my life consisted of going to the office, being in the office by 7:30 because I wanted to chat with my boss before all the employees started arriving and I would be busy. And I was leaving the office very late, and maximum I had was 2-3 times a week going to the gym, and that was about it. Today, my life is between Ukraine, UK, London, Madrid, and now I'm heading to Asia. So that's in terms of geography. I'm polishing my Spanish. I'm practicing yoga. I have my startup Simplify with the shirts for business women. I'm learning Argentinian tango, and I'm really enjoying my family. So in this sense, like if you would take at least one thing, there were like 10 key things which I was trying to say, but I think like, the most important one, and it's something like super heavy on us, and I think, I don't know, I'm still thinking from a different generation. I think probably like Sophie and like the kids, they don't have it. But I think one of the best favors we can do from ourselves is kind of to kill this weight of thinking that something that happens is forever, because nothing is forever. And we don't know what's going to be in the future. All we can do is to stay curious and to be learning and to be watching the trends. And I hope it was insightful. And I'm happy to answer the questions if you have them.
Okay, I have a question. I know that there is such a tendency that in modern offices, workplaces, a lot of people's jobs are being taken over by computer programs and machinery. In this term, there is going to be a lot of people, even in creative professions, who will be out of jobs because it is cheaper to buy a program than to hire a person. What do you think would be a good way for people to change their technical skills, to switch their focus of knowledge in order to be safe or to be more successful, even in creative industries?
I think I don't think like we will see it, because maybe like the kids who are like techie, intuitive, right? Like they're born with the technology would be different, but and it's a big thing which is discussed. How much you can replace by robotics. And like if you see like what's happening in the financial industry, right, then like all analytics, I mean, you don't need so many like entry positions even in these jobs nowadays. The good news are that there are new things happening, and there are new things which will be coming up. And I think the only thing you can do is really to never stop learning. And I think one of the big things that we have to promise to ourselves, and probably like for us, for those who have kids, is not to try to impose your thinking into the new generations. Because like what I was saying, I mean, for my mom, for me, it's like leaving a big company, to be kind of, in the business school, like, which is very entrepreneurial, or like starting like your own company. It's something like very risky. For example, the same is like for my partner, he works for British Petroleum for his mom, like that he wants to leave BP to do his own stuff. For them it's scary, because like they don't have it in the mindset. In our mindset, we're already taking the change, and this reality a bit easier. But I think, one of the mistakes is at least, to the new generation, try not to pass what we think is right because we don't know it. For ourselves, the best what we can do is to hang around more with younger kids. Because I think like it's very interesting, even if you would like look into the social media, who is using Facebook? Who is using Instagram? Who is using WeChat? Who is using Snapchat? Okay. So the thing is, Facebook is something for us. It's by people like Sophie, like even like by teenagers, it's already perceived like the bar where your parents go. So that's why they don't use it, or they use it just to show like what they want to show. They all are on different medium. So the thing is is also, what do you want to do? So I think there is no like answer like what do we have to do. I think like it all goes back to being open-minded, and instead of trying to impose your way of thinking, try to learn actually from those who are growing up, because they're quite easy and they're quite quicker like picking up like the new trends and new technology. I think to my to my regret, I cannot call myself technologically like techie and like being very, what do you call it, the innovator on that side, the early adopter. But I think this is something that we all have to be doing. Like if we want to understand where the wind blows and what kind of skills are necessary and where the jobs goes, then we all have to turn ourselves, to become these early adopters. So really being on this way, or at least the early majority. I find myself quite a lot that I'm already, when everyone knows about it, I already know about it. So I think like that's the best what we can do. We will not be able to, to hold to the past, and I think it's unavoidable that more and more jobs will be automatized. But at the same time, I think why the jobs are automized is because of the cost. Right, because it's cheaper to put a machine. But what we see today, we still value something which is done handmade. We are ready to pay premium for something, I don't know, for someone who is driving a car and as a person is able to smile into the machine. Would you trust a machine driving your child somewhere? So I think there will be always space for these things, but then you have to be the best in that, So in this sense, I think like you have to really watch the trends and to be very, very innovative, or you have to be really, really good. So I think like specialize or die in a sense. I don't know.
When you think it's possible to like change jobs, go into creative stuff, open boundaries and stuff like that, only because there's a very limited amount of people who actually do this? If more people will change jobs and go into stuff like this, it'll be harder to actually make it.
Why do you think borders exist? Borders. Why do we need to have a visa to go somewhere? It's a protection, isn't it? What would happen if today, tomorrow, we don't need to travel somewhere, or it's like it's free? We can move without the need to get visa. What will happen? Your idea. Everyone will end up in the States?
I'm politically biased and I don't really want to.
No, but it's like, we're not speaking about like I'm Ukrainian, like I love Ukraine, but we're like, it's a theory, right? It's just like, it's a question. So we're not testing if you're loyal to Ukraine or not, but in general, what do you think will happen? Like where people from Africa will go? I mean, let's not speak about Ukraine, let's speak about something else. People will tend to move to the countries which have more wealth, right? If you have everyone in the country with more wealth, what happens?
Becomes poor.
There are no opportunities, right? So people start moving out into the place with resources, with space to breathe and everything. I think it's the same. I think like if people start going somewhere, there will be something else. You will need to open up because otherwise we all need to pay the bills, right? So I think, even though, people say like I don't believe in this invisible hand, it doesn't work, it doesn't this, but in a way it is. It's all about supply and demand. It's all about the law of competition, and that's it. So it's a continuous readjustment. So if I think I think it's wrong to think where everyone is going. That's why I think you have to internalize and think, what do I like? What do I want to do out of the things which are happening? Where I should go? Because then, if everyone is really looking at own skills and what you want, we will not end up at one place. Because someone prefers Spain, someone else prefers France, someone else prefers to be in the States for different reasons. But if we all will say like, oh, this is the way, and that's why I'm saying like it's not possible to say like, okay, now we all have to go there. I think it's like the Soviet Union approach. So I think like it's going to be like the readjustment, and the only thing you can do is to be honest with yourself and to really understand what you like and you enjoy. You'll be successful, and that's it. And you will monopolize in this space.
How do you think will in future rise the percent of unemployed people?
Mm-hmm.
Will in future rise the percent of unemployed people?
What do you think?
I think yes.
Why?
Because of automatization and techie stuff and computers technologies rising and
Who is developing technologies? Who is developing techie stuff? Who is developing gadget? Who is doing that? Technology or people?
people, engineers. But I don't think all people can be engineers.
Are all people engineers? Are all inventions brought by engineers? Where does a new product start? With what does it begin?
In mind.
Huh?
In mind.
In mind of whom? Of someone who creates the product, or in mind of the consumer who has a need? As long as we have consumers with needs, there will be new products. And technology, unfortunately, is not able to understand, at least until now, to fully understand the human behavior, emotions, sensations, and all these things. So I think I'm not like an economist. I'm not a Darwinist or anything. So just like my really like humble opinion and like what I think. But we did enter the moment of change, right? We had like industrial revolution. We had like all these different periods. Now we're living like through new times, and there is lots of readjustment. And I think like we were discussing crisis. Now we stop discussing crisis because we understand. I mean, that's just the way of being. Because crisis cannot continue for 10 years, right? It's not crisis, it's just life. So the thing is, will the unemployment rise? It's like if you look into what's unemployment or employment or like inflation, it's all related to economy, and you can play with this. When the government wants to play with something, they can also play with employment, unemployment, with social benefits. I think there will be always, demand for people. I think one of the problems is probably again the mentality problem. I remember when I came to the States, I was impressed that kids after school go to work in supermarkets, to McDonald's, to sell and to earn money. While when I came back here, everyone feels that it's shameful. Oh, me? No, I want to be a manager. So I think I was the same way, so it's like it's not to pick on someone. I was the same way when I had to pay for the apartment in Kyiv for the university, and my mom told me, okay, maybe you find a job where you can like clean the office and earn money, you know, and that's how. Me? No, you know, like I have a gold medal, I went to the States, like I cannot do it. The reality is we all have to be a little bit more humble and a little bit more like realistic, and I think that there are jobs, and just I mean there is a willingness or not willingness to do specific jobs, but the jobs are out there because, for example, when and it also like depends on the qualifications, but not even that. You know, I remember again Jonathan, my mentor, when he was offering me the job in marketing communications, and then he told me, you know, I'm offering you this job because I understand that you have no idea about, you know, you've studied it in the ICU, great, but you've been in communications, not marketing communications. I know that you don't know, but I was meeting people from different companies, and they seem to be qualified and everything, but I don't know them. It's like they tell me whatever during the interview, then I hire them. I have no confidence. What I see in you is the attitude. And you like the only thing you cannot learn is the attitude, right? It's like it's an untrained skill. You either have it or you don't have it. So I think the answer to employment or unemployment in many cases is the attitude, and understanding the reasons why someone is not having that. And I think like one of the also things which are changing now, it's like we had a cleaning lady in Madrid who was coming to clean the apartment, and she was Ukrainian, really nice lady. And when for the first time I met her, in the first half an hour she had to tell me that she has a higher education and what she is doing. And I said like, look, Clara, you're amazing. I really love what you're doing. It's great, you're making my life so much better. So I think like in many times, and in many cases, it's as simple as that, you know, because like what do we call like unemployment? Maybe just people, there are jobs. It's just there is willingness or unwillingness to have a particular job. But I think, I mean, we all have to enter the mind that you have to start from something, because like one of the prepositions that I had also that if I have like, when I start working, like I want to be paid, right? So I don't want to do an internship for free. I think it's one of the biggest mistakes that you can make, because you have to prove yourself. Like, why should someone pay you only because you have a diploma? I mean, ideally, yes, but sometimes, you know, you have to grab the chance and you have to prove something and to put something in your CV. So I don't think like, you know, I have a clear yes, no percentage answer to what you're saying, but I think we need to readjust the attitude that we have, and especially the young people. And we need to, you know, to become shameless in terms of the jobs and less picky. But the jobs are out there. And the thing is, like today, what you see, it's quite easy to earn small money. You know, so you can start something small, and if you follow the lean startup idea, you don't need to write a business plan for 10 years, because maybe no one wants your product. You just want to develop a prototype, go and test it, and maybe it works, and maybe that's your job. So I think what definitely we will see, and this is what's happening with all the startup boom right now, it's mainly like in the area of technology, just because of the money that you need to invest to try, right, and the potential scoping of the money that you're able to get, so investors are more willing to finance. But I think, I mean, that's going to be the way to go in the future more and more, that there will be more and more self-employed people. And like what we see now is there are like all these services which are uniting people who are selling the skills. So you don't need a consulting company, McKinsey, which is building like a beautiful office, and you pay for their amazing offices everywhere, while all you want to do is to hire the brain, right? So I think the industry of services will be going through a really big change, and I think that's an opportunity as well for the employment, because then your services become more affordable for someone. But that's a different thing that you have to think about. In London, we've been selling some stuff from the apartment which we didn't need, and I was impressed. It was a complete discovery. I had so much fun. I thought it was so boring to sell furniture until I discovered Gumtree. It's a service of eBay. In eBay, you need to pay for registering. In Gumtree, you just, you know, for 1 month you can advertise in your community for free, and then you put the price with pictures, and then people bet and they write you back. Amazing. Another one, free cycle. It's like if you really cannot sell, like, or you don't want something, you just post in your community the message, and people have like to come and to pick it up. So it's like there are like all these different ways of how we interact with, with each other, and I don't know that I think we're going through the time when old professions are dying and new professions are, starting to be born, and that's why we struggle a lot. And we struggle a lot with mentality, which we inherit from the past times, because I think we're like on a clash. Like the clash, the generation which is living like on the clashing period of many things. It was a long answer, I know.
Tetyana, thank you for your speech. It was quite inspiring.
Thank
And,
you.
It wasn't for me basically about the 10 things, but about your example, like a small lady moving from a small village to the job of your dream and the life of your dream. I have a weird question concerning your dreams. You mentioned that when you were a child, you had a dream to become a witch and then a flight attendant. And you have a daughter. I just noticed it was 8, I think, right?
Yeah.
Do you know her dream? And
She wants to be a chef.
like because
She wants to be a chef.
cooking.
Yeah. And my mom says, my mom, the next generation, right? The previous generation, she says, she wants to be a chef. And I'm telling her, no, you want to be a restaurant owner. And I said, why? Why? And unfortunately, like before, and I see it like with my generation, like plus minus 10 years, I think, like it's all like our generation. I see that there was so much focus on prestige and status and aristocratism that quite often people were not free to materialize their dreams. And I'm really happy to see like the whole movement that people become really free to choose, and that we start valuing different things, because like if she wants to be a chef, she can be a chef. And I think my job as a parent is to help her to become the best chef she wants to be, not the best chef in the world, because I really like the expression of Baryshnikov that I'm always trying to dance better than myself. Even though my yoga teacher, she says like don't compete even with yourself, just try to enjoy, because like if you enjoy, everything flows. Yeah, but she doesn't want to be like me, and I'm happy because I think it's not for everyone. So, thank you very much. And you have my contacts if you want to meet, if you want to chat, any questions, I'm going to be happy. You can friend me. I'm using Facebook a lot. I'm using WhatsApp. I'm using like everything. So whatever media serves your needs, I'm there. Thank you once again.
Thank you.